Hello everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are going to make herb salt with some herbs that I have harvested from the garden, mostly from my green stalks, and I have already washed them in some cool water and I've been leaving them out here to dry. So for this recipe you need some salt and a variety of herbs of your choosing. Many herbs can work with that, and I particularly use just the herbs that I had in my garden, and I love the combination over here. I have some parsley, rosemary, thyme, and oregano. You could use basil, dill, depends on what you want to use it for or make with. You can also make individual herb salt, so you could make a parsley salt or just a rosemary salt. I love all of these herbs over here, and I think they go great with all of the dishes that we seasonally cook for winter and fall. So these are the ones that I'm gonna use, and I'm not gonna use all of them. I only have this much salt to use today. This is some Himalayan pink salt. You can use any salt you like. I've used kosher salt in the past many times and I was worked out well, but whatever you have at home should be good. And I'm just going to add a little bit of each of these in here, chop it up real fast, and then we're just gonna blend it in here and put it in the sheet pan. Super easy. I'm making this a little bit more herby than I made on a previous video last year to add more herb flavor to the salt. Rosemary is kind of strong and pungent, so I'm not gonna add as much. We're gonna just add, let's say, this much over here, because I don't want the rosemary to omit all of the other flavors of all the herbs. There you go. Let's add this here. Now we're gonna do some thyme. The thyme I didn't have a lot, unfortunately, on my green stock. I was gonna save half, but I'm gonna use it all. I'm gonna put it with the stems. I'll take the brown, the thicker stems, but the stems of the thyme are a bit more flexible. So let's just add some thyme. And last but not least, some oregano. There's a lot of herbs in there. Hopefully this is going to be enough salt. Let's see when we blend what's going to happen. I'm not going to use all the oregano also because I want to save some fresh for cooking. They have kind of woody stems, so I'm going to go ahead and do this for the oregano too, to just remove the leaves. Oregano is also strong. I could add more, but let's see how this is going to turn out first after I add the salt. I have to move these actually to here. Oops, let's see how big this wire is. Not too big. To here so I can blend it, to plug it into the wall. But I'm gonna add the salt here first before I put that in there. This is probably about a half a cup of salt I measured before. It's all that I had left over from this container and I wanted to use it all. So let's now put it here and blend it. Okay, let's see how this will do. Looking pretty nice. Alright, turned it very nice and green. Here's a closer look. Maybe needed more salt, but I'm gonna try to make it like this anyway. It's very green and looks very herby, but I'm curious to see how this is gonna look after we dehydrate it, because as long as the herbs are dehydrated, that should be safe. So let's now just move this to a sheet pan. I'm going to use this little one here today. Usually I would line this with parchment paper, but I only have a little bit and I need to use this for a bread that I'm making later. So I'm just going to use a little bit of foil. Okay. Now we're going to dump this in here. It's oxidizing a bit. It's getting a little brown. Now we're just going to spread. I think I might have put a little bit too much parsley. Let's see how it's going to turn out at the end. We're going to spread this out, and I'm going to put it in the oven and hope this dehydrates well. You know, and scrape every little bits of this in here. We don't want to waste anything. So we scrape the blender, get some more salt in there. Now there's a couple options on how you could dehydrate this. Because mine is very herby, I wouldn't leave it outside to dry. If you make one that's more salt and just a little bit of herbs, you can leave it out on the counter and let it dry for 24 hours, and that should be good. Just make sure it's out of the way for pets, anything like that. You also can use your oven or a dehydrator. Last year I used my dehydrator and oven because I was making a lot to gift it also, but this is just for ourselves, and I'm going to use my oven today because I understand not a lot of you guys have dehydrators. So I just have my oven set on low. This is 170. It's the lowest that goes for this one over here. And I'm gonna put this in here for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. Because this one has lots of herbs, it looks a little bit wet. It might take more than an hour, but we're gonna check. We're gonna let this dry in here, and then we're gonna come back later to see how the final result looks. And meanwhile, I'm just gonna go ahead and clean all of this. Okay, so the salt is out of the oven. It's actually been around 3 hours. It took a lot longer than I thought to fully dry, but as you guys can see here, it looks really nice. So it's nice and dried and it's ready for us to put this in a jar. And we're going to use this little jar here to put it away. So usually when you'll notice it's very, very dry, when it's not sticking anymore to the paper and the herbs are looking not as green. But this one still looks really good. I'm just going to try to move with the foil here, then get the rest that stayed in the pan after. Okay, this looks like it's going to be a good size. And we have some more that fell to the sides of this pan here. I'm just gonna pour this here as well. There you go. That's how much we made. All of these herbs turned out to be about this much of finished herb salt. And here we have it, all ready and ready to be stored and used. So there's many things you can make with this herb salt. You can add it to roasts if you're roasting meat or vegetables. You can just marinate them with some olive oil and herb salt, or just toss the vegetables with some herb salt and olive oil and then roast it, and it turns out great. You can also use it in stews and soups for the winter, so it's a really good thing to have at this time of the year. And if you have herbs growing in your garden, I highly encourage you to make some too. So thank you so much for watching today. If you have any questions about anything, please let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you next time.